ahead and call the Dade County Commission work session here to order. Appreciate everyone being here tonight. Beautiful evening out there. Fall's in the air. Thank goodness, finally. Hopefully we'll have a pretty weekend and no more rain. Robert, he will not be here tonight. He's actually attending a meeting on our Southeastern Tennessee development group that we belong to. They help us with a lot of different grants and money. He's actually attending that today, tonight, and tomorrow, so he won't be here. But we have the rest of our crew here. Appreciate y'all. Everyone had time to look at the agenda? Any changes? Any comments on the agenda? Okay, all right. The minutes from our last meeting, I know you've had those for a while. Has anyone got any comments or changes on that? Everything good on it? Okay. Personnel status, you can open that up. Not been a tremendous change. We got, I thought I had this cut off, I'm sorry, but I didn't. Any comments? As usual, most of our changes are in the Sheriff's Department or in the jail. We do have one that's actually going to mandate school, and they've. I don't know whether it's on this one, but I know yesterday, I think, or the day before, they replaced him in the jail. Any comments, questions? Okay. Before we go to board appointments, Lamar has got a few things he wants to say here about a young man here tonight, and we've got a little presentation. We want to maybe let you tell us a little bit about it, Lamar. And he brought this up we've been working on this since 6 or 8 months, a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, Robert brought up maybe over 2 years ago that we needed to start recognizing people that have went above and beyond and they're supporting their communities. And we did that with Larry Moore at the baseball field. And I knew right after he said that there was one person in my community who definitely needed recognizing. And I actually went to Rodney Ross and asked him, I said, what do you think about this? And he said, it would be well deserved. And so then I went to Chairman Rumley and told him what I was wanting to do, and he, of course, he helped me make it happen. Not quickly, because this was supposed to happen before the COVID hit.
Yep.
And we had a company that kept putting us off, saying, we're not getting the materials, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. And then finally went out of business. So we had to start the process all over again. So Ted told me, he said, go and talk to the person that you're wanting to give this honor to. And I went, the person I'm talking about is David Parrish.
That's right. David, come on up here.
Yeah, come on up here. And when I talked to David, he said, he told us all the wins that started and all that. And he also recognized that JC and Betty Ayers should be recognized also because they donated the property. And I think I have.
You have a picture of you holding this thing.
Is Eric? Come on up, sir. This is Eric Ayers. This is Larry. And this is Larry and Eric is the brother or the sons.
I didn't even recognize with the mask on back there.
JC and Betty Ayers. We've got the right hat on. That's what matters.
I'll try to hide.
Lamar, if you don't read this right here, then I'll hold it.
Okay, it's supposed to be, do we have it on the
screen.
on the screen? I thought they told me we had it on the screen, but anyway.
Just read it there and we'll.
It says North Dade Fire and Rescue Station, established 1977, land donated by J.C. and Betty Ayers, and then David E. Parris, in recognition of 40 years of service and dedication to the community. So we really appreciate
David, well, they can see it. And we'll do an official dedication up at the fire hall shortly in the next few weeks, and maybe when the weather breaks a little bit, and we're going to attach it. It'll attach to the building, be there for forever, hopefully. But David, we appreciate you, buddy, more than you know. Put a lot of years. David also served on our school board. How many years?
8.
8 years, and we appreciate that for him too. Okay. Here,
Thank you for coming.
we would have got you a gold watch, but that's a little bit out of budget there. We do appreciate you though. I tell you what, he's put a lot of hours in this county.
And his own money and time.
Oh, I know, a lot. We appreciate it though. All right, let's move down to the 4A, the proclamation, the National Library Card Sign-Up Month of September. Everybody fine with that? Okay. B is the proclamation, the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month of September. That's something we've done before over the years. You fine with that, commissioners? You good? Okay. 4C, the proclamation. This is an adult Education and Family Literacy Week. This is in the month of September from the 19th to the 25th of 2021. And we've done this, I don't know how many years, several years. And everybody fine with that? Okay. Move down to 4D. This is the appointment of a member to our Water and Sewer Authority. Have you got any luck with that yet? You kind of working on it? You did?
Are we ready to do that?
Well, I mean, it's here. We can do it if you want to wait. I know you've got an appointment to the tax board, right?
Yeah, that's done. So now I've got,
Yeah, but we haven't voted on that.
Right.
No, that should be
No, we're ready. You got a name, right?
right.
Yeah.
4, but you've got one on here, don't have the other.
We did that.
The one that you talked about, is that for the Water Authority or for the assessors?
The assessors is already done.
Yeah, we did that at the special call
Okay, so
meeting.
this is
That
for the
is
water.
special
This is-
call. So this is for the water.
Okay.
Do you want to?
We need it. We need a name.
Okay. Let me
I can't think of his
get last name. Hold on one second. It's Daniel. And you want me to spell the last name for you? Glecier.
Go ahead and say it.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't want to butcher
Do your
it.
best.
Yeah.
But he is married for 32 years, retired law enforcement for 28 years, employed at Cloud Canyon State Park for the past 5 years, and father of 5. And most of the children have gone to Covenant. The youngest is at Dade County.
Okay. All right.
So
All right.
he's excited to get in there and to learn and figure
And
out
what this is a person that will represent the Lookout Mountain District on the water board. We have the water board members are from North End, South End, Sand Mountain, from Lookout, which is who we're talking about tonight, and then we have one from the city of Trenton. So that way, all the county is represented. You got any questions on the person or anything?
I need a bigger screen.
Lamar?
No, sir.
How do you spell his last name again?
Glecier.
Okay.
Glecier.
Yeah. I know you've been looking for a while. We've been.
Yeah, we've had a couple good conversations,
Yeah.
and he's fully invested in the mountain and Cloud Canyon, so I
Okay.
feel like it's a pretty good fit.
All right, okay. All right, put that on the consent agenda if everybody's fine with it. All right. Move down to, I've got one other thing. This is not anything that we need to really discuss this for information. Evan Stone's got something he wants to share with us tonight. That's a little event that's happening. It's pretty important to Dade County.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's an event coming up at Dade County High School, and I'm going to give you a little background on it. It's going to be at Saturday, September the 25th, from 9 until noon. It's called Job Ready Dade Hiring Event. Now, this has been in the works for a little while. I think we're in historic times because in the latest unemployment rate in Dade County is at now 2%. They say that when you get to 4%, you have full employment. So we're at 2%. Catoosa's at 2.1. Walker, I think, was at 2.6. That's way below what they say we are at full capacity. Everybody that's got a job, 98% of those people are working. Now, what we also have is a problem. The industrial park could put together probably 200 or 300 people to work tomorrow if we had them. Our retail community, same way. We've got local establishments that are not able to open their lobbies because they don't have enough employees. So through the Industrial Development Authority, which I'm a member, and also the Northwest Georgia Joint Development Authority, and partnering with the Alliance for Dade and the Top of Georgia, which is the private partner of the North Georgia Joint Development Authority, we put this together, and this is an event for Dade County businesses. We're going to invite them, and we've been in the process over the last couple of weeks inviting those businesses to participate in this hiring event. What we're going to be focusing on, we're going to start about a 3.5-week campaign just after Labor Day that's going to be focusing on the 60% of Dade County workers that leave this county and go to work somewhere else outside of Dade. Not the fact that we think that everybody's going to quit their jobs and come to Dade, but we wanted to highlight for the benefit of all of our industrial folks, all of our retail folks, that we do have Dade Has Jobs, I think .com, I think it's Dade Has Jobs, and we wanted to highlight those. So we've invited, we hope there's going to be 30 plus employers at Dade County High School that Saturday morning, September the 25th from 9 till noon. Now, we're going to be stepping up as through the various agencies in the Top of Georgia and the Alliance. There's going to be prizes given away. We're going to be going out and getting the folks excited about coming to this hiring event. If they do nothing but walk through, I think they'll be amazed at what type of jobs that we have available here in Dade County. Now, if the commissioners have been furnished a copy of this, our director of the Industrial Development Authority, William, I don't even know if William's here or not, he put together it costs money to commute, and why not work closer to home? And just hitting the highlights of this, and he was very conservative on the estimates. If you go outside of Dade County and drive an average of 23 miles a day, it costs you about $4,620 to drive your vehicle, and that puts about 11,500 miles of wear and tear on your vehicle as well. It takes about 5 hours a week out of your time that you could be spending with your family. All of this, he put it together. Basically, it's about $3.31 an hour on a 40-hour work week that it costs folks that live in Dade County to go outside the county to work. Now, they may be perfectly happy and be at a job 30 years, and there's no way to tell. That's not this. We wanted to highlight our businesses because we need to focus on the 60% of the people to let them know what type of jobs Dade County has to offer. So this event is going to do that. There's going to be a $500 cash prize. There's going to be all kinds of different things that are going to be given away during the event. It'll be streamed live. I mean, it'll be hopefully an event where folks will go by, even if they've got a job and they work outside the county, or if they work here in the county, they just may want to see all the different jobs that are available.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be there. So the Industrial Development Authority.
We're going to have a booth.
Yeah,
the county commission.
We'll have a booth because y'all got three
on the road. We've got an HR position coming up, and so yeah, we'll definitely be there. Now, did you tell me the other day? I understand there's for your employers though. there is a charge for the booth.
Yeah, they're going to be charged a booth rental
Yeah.
for that, which, I mean, obviously, I mean, that just kind of goes without saying, and that money's going to be used for the different prizes and the different things. The school's been very gracious, but there is a charge for it's very minimal.
Yeah.
But they're going to get involved. They're going to let all their students know that are juniors and seniors that are work age, that this is going to be happening at their school the next day. You know, the folks like Food City and the different fast food restaurants and things that are struggling to stay open and keep their lobby open, because I don't know if at any time in history we've had 98% employment.
Yeah.
Only 2% is not working.
Yeah.
And there's no more extra benefits from the federal government to stay at home, but we've got countless numbers of jobs.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, the other thing that, and William shared to us that he's done the scale on, in 3 years, Dade County's rate of pay average has went up 30%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really mind-boggling. 3 years ago, and I won't name restaurants, but you work for $8.50, $9 an hour. Now you're working for 14. I mean, look, you got industrial places in the industrial park that you started at 10, now you're making 15. So everybody's wages have went up because of this. And they're needing employees. So this event's coming. Y'all are going to have a table there. We hope that anybody, I know there's a lot of folks at the industrial park are excited about this because William's been talking with them on this. I've met with some of the retail folks and they're excited about it. So you're going to see a lot of activity there. And we hope to entice the folks in Dade County to come, and Sand Mountain and the region to come and say, look what's available to work in Dade County. So any other commissioners have any questions and the reason, and I appreciate, Mr. Chairman, to allow us to go ahead and tell you, y'all won't have another meeting before this event's over.
No, it's good to get the word out. I mean, it really
Yeah,
is, you know,
and
something.
we're waiting to do a big publicity campaign until after Labor Day, because historically we got football, we got college football starting this weekend, we got cookouts on Monday, we got the South Dade barbecue on Saturday. We're not thinking about jobs this weekend, so the marketing campaign will start next week.
Okay.
So any other questions?
Appreciate it.
Sounds great.
Thank y'all very
Thank you
much.
for bringing that to
And by the way, just to say, this gentleman, I can't tell you the number of calls that I ran with him when I was on the ambulance on the north end of the county, or in other places.
Yep.
He's been an excellent jewel for the county.
That's exactly right. Yeah. He's our SLU Woodyard of North Dade.
Absolutely.
And those of you who don't know SLU, he's our SLU Woodyard.
I hope they don't keep on making you mad.
Good information. We appreciate that. We'll move down to, I want to mention this real quick. I know I want to show this right here. This is, I think we mentioned it maybe on the radio. Anyway, we are now a Georgia Broadband Ready certified community. We might have mentioned our last meeting, I don't know, but we finally got our certificate now. And it's really good. This was presented at the regional commission meeting last Thursday, a week ago. And it's really, it took a lot of work on Don's part and Becca, all of us, we worked on it, and we got this. And what this means is there's a lot of money coming down from the federal government and state, for broadband, because that is a very important part of our life now. And this is kind of showing that we're shovel ready for it. Before you qualify for any of that money, one of the second or third question down the line is you've got to have this certificate. You got to prove that you're in need. And so we went through the hoops on that, and we're working really hard for the people out there. And the people that's got it don't even know what I'm talking about, but the people that don't, there's a lot of people that don't have it. We're really working hard to make this happen in your neighborhood, Wildwood, Sand Mountain, parts of Lookout Mountain, even some of South Dade. So they don't have internet, high-speed internet or internet. And so this is a big step right here, big step. So just want to let people know that. All right, let's move down to 5. Well, we're down, actually down to number 5, but I don't see anything on our approvals, on capital, on our splosh approvals. So that's a good thing. Move down to number 6, Georgia Department of Audits and Accounts, sales ratio study, Ms. Paula Duval. If you want to come up and talk to us. Paula is our, she's over our Dade County appraisers in the back. So.
That is correct. Good evening, everyone. Just some basic reminders of what this report is. Every year, we are audited by the Department of Audits. The Department of Audits is a separate department from the Department of Revenue. Department of Revenue is where we get our training through, our appraiser procedure manuals, policies, procedures, things like that. Department of Audits, their job is to come into our office, audit our work as far as the sales are concerned, our sales ratios, things that we've talked about a lot on the weekly updates when we did our revaluation. We talked a lot about sales ratios and what those mean. And just another little reminder of what those are is the statistical numbers that tell us how well our values that we have set up for the properties compared to what is actually selling, what the market actually shows. So there are some statistical numbers we'll go through that show whether we are in line with the market or whether we are not. So I think, does everybody have a copy? I don't know if y'all received a copy of them.
Yeah,
Oh, it's on the computer.
it's on the
Okay.
computer.
If you go to the third page, it'll show you starting off, show you some of the numbers. It'll tell you how many sales they use. What they do is the Department of Audits gets all of our sales information, and then they go through and choose which sales they're going to use to compile their report and to determine the statistical numbers that they're going to use. And we are a small county, so normally the sample size is a little bit smaller than you would see in a larger county. Yeah, there you go. It'll show you the number of sales they used were 47. And at the end of the report, you'll actually see the actual sales that they used to determine this report. And where you see overall ratio, what that shows is the ratio tells us exactly how well our values are in line with the market. Because Georgia tax is at 40%, you want that number to be as close to 0.40 as possible. Department of Revenue allows a 0.36 to a 0.42, meaning that's a passing range, meaning that we are doing our jobs, we are keeping in line with the market. As you can see, our overall ratio was 39.04, so that's a really good ratio. That does show that we are keeping up with the market, and as we've seen the last year, this year, the market's up, and it's just continuing to increase. So, that's why we've had to see property values increase for tax purposes also. And this is the 2020 report. These are always a year behind, so just keep that in mind. This is for the 2020 digest year. The rest of them are just giving you the total overall value of the real property, the personal property, current use properties and motor vehicles, and then just the adjusted digest. If you go to the next page, we'll look at the actual ratios for each class. There's 4 different classes of property that we deal with. That's your residential, agricultural, commercial, and industrial. And they do a ratio for each of those classes of property. So the residential property, you're looking at the median number. That's the number we're going to look at to see if we're in line. For residential properties, we were at 38.75. For your agricultural properties, we were at 39.51. For your commercial properties, we were at 39.51 also, and same with industrial. Usually those are classed together as far as the sales they use. So a lot of times that number is going to be the same. So the next number you're going to look at is the COD. That's your coefficient of dispersion. That measures uniformity. Are we valuing every property in these classes of property using the same methodology? That number should not be above a 0.15 if it's a residential property. It should not be above a 0.20 if it's anything other than a residential property. So you can see the COD for residential was 8.92. Agricultural 8.59, commercial industrial also 8.59. So first number we're great. We're really close to 0.40. Your second number, COD, we're well below what we should be. The 0.15, we're around the 8-9 range. And then your PRD, that measures your regressivity, progressivity. Are we only valuing the higher value properties or the lower, so on and so forth? Those numbers per Department of Revenue should be between a 0.95 and a 1.10. Department of Audits does tighten that up a little bit, and they say it should be between a 0.98 and a 1.03. So when we look at our PRD for residential, we are 1.102, which would be 1.02. And then your agricultural, commercial, industrial, we are at a 1. So across the board, 2020 digest, based on the changes that we made for the 2020 property values, an audit was perfect. Everything looked great. We are in line as we should be. And another thing, what this means is when this is good, when this is right, when this is what it should be, the county can collect public utilities at 40%. If we fall below our numbers in this audit report, the county loses money because they cannot collect public utilities at the 40% range. So that's just to give you the 2020 audit report. Everything looks great, and we're hoping for the same thing for 2021 after the big reevaluation that took place. But we'll see that next year.
Any questions?
No, but this is all, one word I always loved when I was on the tax board was uniformity. That's the whole goal of the tax force, to make sure everybody's uniform, charged the same, everybody's paying their fair share. So, you ever get a chance to serve on the tax board?
That's
I
right.
believe Mr. Harris has done that too.
What were you on it?
I was on nearly 3 years, I
Yeah.
think. So,
Yeah, Mr. Harris was on there also.
oh, David, what was you on?
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Sure was.
All right.
So just, keep in mind, we're not just an office down there that just can do our own thing. We are audited. We are checked by the Department of Revenue also. So we do have our checks and balances also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good report. Thank you. All right. Move down to number 7. This is a resolution R-24-21, approval of Blevins Construction Management Incorporated, which is a Dade County company, for the construction management of the courthouse renovation. Dawn, you want to comment? You want to go? Oh, Donna's going to go into that? Okay.
We decided in our last meeting that since the legwork had been done with repair to the courthouse that needed to be done immediately, and, excuse me, I'm gonna do this.
Good idea.
That was done and completed, and that we were at the place where we could make a recommendation to the commission about what we need to do to move forward. And we've had input, direct input from 3 of our commissioners in a meeting in the last 2 months. That would be Lamar, Melissa, and Ted. And this resolution, for those of you who might see it online, it's basically the history of everything we've done to get to this point. The last 2 things are the things that we want to be considered. That the Joint Trenton-Dade Historic Preservation Commission formally requests that the Board of Commissioners of Dade County consider for approval BCM as a construction manager, as advisor, to act as an advocate and advise the county commission, and then be it further resolved that requests for proposals be approved. The HPC recommends that the Blevins Construction Management Incorporated provide full-time on-site supervision to expedite the renovation, with monthly reports to the county commission regarding the renovation of the old historic courthouse.
And what pay schedule, what fee, what are they charging us?
We did not nail that down in our meeting, but there was talk of 5%.
Of what, of the total project?
Of the project. Wait, that's not true. 5%. It depends on whether y'all choose to do, which way y'all consider to go.
Yeah.
And that, a direct bid, the bid process, or as the straight advisor, but we decided that upon a conversation with Jamie, we decided that it was time for some action to be taken. And I think he sent on some more things. Is that true?
Well, yeah,
Can you clarify a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, we need a little, because, and they do a good job, and they've done a good job. They've done, they really, but, this is just my opinion. It's not the
Messing him
opinion of the
up.
commission, but is, we just need to know how much.
numbers.
The numbers, yeah. That's-
Absolutely.
You can't give somebody, I don't care what company it is, you can't.
Well, free
give them
reign
a-
is not part of the deal here.
Yeah. Do what now?
Free reign is not part of the deal here. We won't.
No, we know that, but it could be on this resolution. This is
Yes.
giving them, yeah, and we can't. But, Don, go ahead if you want to comment.
So, I spoke to Jamie Blevins, and he said, basically the role of a construction manager as advisor is to act as an advocate and an advisor for the project owner. The singular purpose of the CMA, which is what he calls a construction manager as advisor, is to look out for the owner's and project's best interest, with the project taking precedent. This is accomplished with the CMA's assisting in compiling bid packages to ensure compliance scopes of work, solicitations of bids, vetting of trade contractors' proposals and capabilities, reviewing and approving payment requisitions, overall project planning and scheduling, and providing inspections of work to ensure conformance with the contract documents. The CMA would also provide a monthly report documenting the project status for the Commission's review. There are the base services. These are the base services, basically, that he's been talking to the HPC about. And he said the CMA's contract agreement provides the county with a management option to have better control of the project while also reducing costs compared to a traditional hard bid procurement method. The trade contractors would be contracted directly with the county and managed by the CMA. So that's what the CMA relationship is they're going to assist basically with the looking at all the helping with structuring the bids, the request for proposals, making sure that the scopes of work are complete and correct according to, the architect and engineering plans that we've received. But they are still going through the county, period. Now, he did supply the county last month with a contract, but the contract is standard, AIA language type. It's not specific. And he really couldn't give any specificity because he didn't know if we were wanting to go with more of a contract management company relationship or a more of a hard bid type relationship. What the HPC has met and discussed and recommend is the CMA relationship to the commission to consider for their approval. The more traditional option is basically what he told us was a design, build, and bid. It's commonly referred to as the hard bid, and that this option will provide the county with a traditional relationship with a contractor to perform specified scopes of work. The lacking component with this method is, basically the general oversight provided by the CMA or a general contractor. If the intent is to phase the project by releasing specific trade packages over time, this method carries a larger risk of scope gaps and additional work related to the gaps. So that's kind of where we are. And I feel like, I don't want to say we're kind of getting stuck, but I think we've been there for about 60 days or so where we've been talking a lot about it. Now we're trying to look forward.
What you explained, that's good. And they can do it. But the only thing missing is a pay scale.
Yeah.
When you submit anything like that, don't matter what you're doing, if you're doing dirt work, whatever,
Right.
And you've got a person that's going to oversee a project, they will submit that and they'll give an hourly charge. Like if he's got a foreman or if he's got a person in the office that's going to be doing this, or say he's got a person doing inspection, then you've got a line item there. You got maybe 8 or 10 people that could be working. And it's got an hourly chart that says, okay, this is what they're making.
That's what's in that contract that they give you.
You know what I mean? Because it's hard for him to
The
give it.
contract that he gave you that you said was a
The
standard.
AIA contract?
Yeah, it's, so typically he charges, 9 to 10%. Now, he said here it's going to be, he's recommended 5 to 6%. Of course, it would be higher if there's a full-time employee on his payroll that's sitting down here doing, what are they doing? If they start out, if they come after the bids are let and making sure work is being completed timely or whatever, arranging for contractors, that's one thing. But if they're, before that, I don't know that there's full-time work. But all that does definitely need to be put into the contract and spelled out.
Well, yeah,
And
it should give two options.
Yep.
If he's gonna charge us 1% of the total project, 2%, then, we can look at that and we can estimate, what's coming. But then we can look at what he would offer us, as far as having that person come in as needed and do an inspection,
Right.
And whatever, however it would come out best for the county. You know what I'm talking about, Philip? You know where I'm coming from? But what do you think about Lamar? We ain't gonna, no need to spend a lot of time on it.
I know what
It's just my
you're saying.
opinion. Yeah.
Well, there should be initial cost of whatever this, what did you call it, project manager? It was it project manager or was it?
It's
Contract.
construction manager
Construction
as
manager.
advisor.
Yeah, so that is a general job right there that should probably have a cost. And then the initial cost would be the different jobs of, whatever's next.
The
plumbing,
phases, or
The phases
whatever.
of, yeah, so.
They did give us in our meeting 2 options, but we looked at it with Melissa there, and I think what we came to was that the risk was higher for one of those 2, and we don't want to be the ones to make that decision. We want you all to make that decision, whether you want to go with the high risk or the one that has less risk. And
You're saying that the 2%'s got less risk?
Well, I don't think we know what we don't have a cost or a.
we don't have, no, we do not have that from
Yeah.
them. We did not have that it was a blank contract that was a sample contract from AIA. And we can ask them, we can go back, you may direct us to go back to them and ask for specifics, but,
Well, you need to have an estimated cost of the job, that way you'll know what the 2% would be close to. Is it $1 million?
I'm sure it's more than that.
So that's what I'm
It was
saying.
$2 million, it was $1 million in 1999, so.
Yeah. So say,
You've got a set of plans now. right?
Yes, we do. And the Blevins Construction Company and the architect, Bruce Case, have worked together some. I don't know how much they have worked together, but this was an outgrowth of that conversation between those 2 people.
Yeah.
And honestly, we didn't have either one of them at this last meeting. So we probably would have some more firm numbers had we had either one of them at the last meeting. I'm sorry that we didn't, but they weren't able to be there. Jamie did talk to us for half an hour on the telephone though. So poor man.
Yeah.
This is, what you have here, I think we should table it, or just not deal with this. We need, if we're gonna go with them, we need an estimated total project amount, $1.5 million, and then are they gonna go 5%, 10% with what the services that Don just said?
Yeah, and I don't know that we can do that without bidding it, because we don't know.
They've got today.
Yeah, they got a pro- they can pull off.
Programs, they've got
That's just
those
like-
plans, so they
yeah,
can tell you
yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what because that's a general job that he's offering, so there has to be a general cost to what he's going to do. Of
Okay.
course, there's going to be jobs that are going to be bidded out and you'll have to look at that too, but there should be an overall cost of what that initial job will be.
Right.
And that can be in phases. That's why we always did, phase 1.
Right.
That's
Like we
what
know
we-
the electrical and the plumbing's
But
ready.
we're
to go
highly
in.
in favor of phases, so,
And then he talked to us about the roughing in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, primarily.
Right, so
Phase 1 and then
the
what phase 2 would be.
contractors that manage the contracting management advisory, there's got to be a cost to that.
He mentioned also, he could serve as general contractor and he do all the subbing out, but we felt like, county's very capable of doing that, of course, but working with him and he
they
working
surely
with
have built
us.
some roads lately, so we know they have that capacity, so.
well, there's no doubt he can do the job, and I'd trust him with anything I've got, but the thing about it is, with the people we're representing, and this is money, we need to have some numbers.
We
need
would
to have
love that too.
Yeah. And that's just, you need to me, is what I feel about it.
But we needed to move this ball along a little bit, and tabling it is fine with us. We'll just, but, it'll still be.
It wouldn't be tabled if we'd had the numbers.
Absolutely. We
We'd go with
understand.
it probably,
Well, I
one way or
think-
the other.
And I think the ball is moving.
Oh, it has.
I mean, it's progressing here.
COVID slowed us down, but, we're back in action, so.
Yeah.
What do y'all feel? I mean,
I'm like you, there needs to be some numbers.
yeah.
I wouldn't want to vote for it if I didn't have numbers either, so I concur. But this is an action, a firm action from our commission to move us another step down the road.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So we will,
You all right with that then? Melissa, you fine with that? And then next, we'll address it next meeting, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, let me clarify a little bit. So you're asking, in this, you're asking on what direction to go on those two different ones that he offered? Because
absolutely, I don't think so.
Because the way I read it,
the way it
it's
reads
one.
is it's construction manager as advisor. And I think that was the consensus from our group of the two choices.
And that's fine.
Okay, okay.
Two choices.
I just
That was
wanted
the-
to be clear.
That's-
Yeah, so he should go back and be able to give you some numbers, I would think.
Well, he needs to bring them to the commission directly is what needs to happen, I think, next.
I
mean,
agree.
don't y'all, I mean, they've made a recommendation to use BCM Incorporated as a construction management, whatever it's called.
As advisor.
Yeah, advisor. And now it's up to the commission to get the numbers and start formulating a contract or agreement.
And a plan for, and we're sure that it's going to take.
Now, Robin,
An
let me
amount
ask
of
you this. With this being said, is this something that should be put out in an RFP that we're searching for an advisor?
Yeah.
Or is it because it's a service from
A professional service.
them that we don't have to put it out in an RFP?
If we go with the professional services route, you don't have to go out for that.
Right.
Doing it with a general contractor, you would have to go to an RFP.
One of the reasons we wanted to do it this way.
Okay,
I hope I answered what I knew.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
By the way, I'm Marciana tonight, so y'all have to see me again.
All right, let's move down to number 8. This is ordinance 9-02-21, amending the alcohol beverage control ordinance to regulate ABC permit for sale and pouring of malt beverages and wine, establish private venue license to repeal conflicting ordinances, and for other such purposes, okay? Melissa, you've been,
Yeah, we had a correction that we talked about. We had changed the time, 72 hours instead of the 48 hours. And in there was a calendar day of 12 days out of the calendar day, but that means that that's actually the festival's several days. So we're going to try to do a correction on a permit, 12 permit days out of the calendar year. So it's more of a correction from changing the 72 hours from 48. Because we had, where you could have a festival 12 days out of the calendar year, it's not actually one day, it's going to be a couple days.
no.
Does that make sense?
That's what I was trying to find so I could read it.
What, Robin, I know there was concern from the alcohol, the beverage board, or about possibly tabling this because of some, what's some, I'm gonna listen to you on this because I know Patty, is she here tonight?
She's not.
Okay. She has some concerns with some of the language. Can you go in details on that? I mean, with us and see what she's talking about?
Well, all right, so after our last meeting, there were a few changes that were suggested, and we incorporated those. The change from 48 to 72 was one of them. And then there's some clarification, some clarifying language about on a private venue, whether that's beer and wine and distilled spirits or beer and wine. And so the way that it currently sits after our last meeting is that it is, with a private venue, you're allowed to serve beer and wine. You can also serve distilled spirits if you have those additional location requirements, being located on the state route.
Main highway.
Right. So there's that. The other issue that I've heard had to do with, that we're providing this amendment is permitting pourers to serve. And so the way that the current ordinance reads is that if you're an employee of an establishment of a restaurant, you sell or mix or serve alcohol, you have to have a pouring permit. And when you stop working there, that goes away. I mean, the permit was tied to your employment. This one allows the permit to be issued and in effect for 3 years, I think. Is that right, Melissa?
Across the board, yeah.
So there was some discussion about whether there's training materials and seminars for pourers if we're allowing them to have a permit for 3 years. And I think that, I know that Patty had looked at that and was doing some research about that, and whether she's met with the ABC board about that, I really don't know that. Melissa may know that better than I.
Well, with that, with what you could state, there's no state mandate or anything that makes you have a class or take a class. And Patty and I are concerned about, we would like there to be a class, but there's not multiple restaurants that serve alcohol, so it's not something that they could get together and say, let's have a class every Monday or something. So the way it is across the board for the state of Georgia is that it is per permits. There's no regulations of having a class with it or not. So there was discussion about, how Jefferson's is being run, where they do a little bit of a training course, and how we would take that across the board. But there's no legal issues from what I understand that would cause anything to not work. It would just be if the county.
What about the liability of that person, though, because they're working under the liability of that establishment, and if they do leave, is there anything in there that's stipulating, because once they do that and if they go to a venue and actually hire themselves out, is there going to be something in there that will require them to have that same liability as far as if they make a mistake and they do serve more than a person needs to drink,
So, yeah, there's, first off, I think what got this discussion started was about 3 months ago, there was someone that came and asked for a license, or a bartending license, essentially. And so that kind of led to a larger discussion that we had. And I looked, and in Georgia, there's really not a bartending license per se. There is in Tennessee, but not in Georgia. And so that kind of led to a larger discussion of us looking at what we do and what we could do moving forward or to improve it. Part of the problem that we had is that there is an expense that really we can't avoid to a large extent of people obtaining that permit. And the reason being is because one of the issues, or one of the requirements, is they have to get licensed by the sheriff's department, and their licensing fee is set by their contract with someone, and so there's not much we can do about that. There's an additional cost that the county does incur in setting forth the permits, but a pouring permit, but that's not the lion's share of the cost. So to get your question, if we do provide some training or something like that, we do need to have something in there to be sure that it's their responsibility they maintain familiarity. Yeah, and the venue. That's correct.
Liability's got to be there.
Right.
Yeah, it goes back to, it's with Jefferson's that we have one restaurant, so they're doing a little training course, and that's to help their employees. Patty does take the paper and keeps it on file, but then that would be, if we go that route and try to find something through the county, then that's another cost and more work to try to figure out how to make that happen, which I would like to see, but as of right now, there's no way to. We found some online apps that you could go through, and they'll send you something saying that you've finished this course online. But I personally think that if the venues wanted it or were concerned that would be more of a personal, like Jefferson's wants it, does it, that, if they wanted some type of training course, if they had bartenders come, that would be more on the venue than it would the county, I feel like.
So if you have a person over there that's the bartender, and they actually let a person leave there serving 2 months, they get out and they have a head on and whatever, who's that liability fall back on that? Is that person bonded and all the person pouring that drink? Or is it the person that owns that
Well,
restaurant?
it's a really fine line because it depends on, it's just like the incident that happened, in Fort Oglethorpe with that lady leaving. They wanted to go back to the bartender and blame her, but they ended up not, because there was no laws that could really that they could figure out.
Let me ask this. So if the state of Georgia does not have any application for a pour permit,
Or bartender, right.
bartender
Bartender,
permit, all right, what does the state law say about this particular scenario?
All right, so if that was just asked about,
Yeah.
so it depends upon who's at fault or who's liable. So in real terms, I can tell you, being an attorney, what would happen is both groups would get sued. I mean, both the bartender as well as the business. And where liability would fall would be dependent upon the facts of the case. So in other words, let's say the bartender did overserve someone unbeknownst to the owner. There was surreptitious, and there was nothing that the owner could have done to stop it. That would fall primarily on the bartender. If, however, there's things such as a general practice of that, or or stronger drinks and than what a permit, that sort of thing, then it could very well be the owner. And again, in real terms, the bar owner would be the one with the deep pockets, and so I can promise you that that's where they would go, where they go after.
You want to add anything else to this? I mean, and of course Patty's not here tonight, but after you talking, I know you have met this morning, you've talked, are you recommending us go forward with this tonight?
Well,
You
I
feel
think
comfortable with it?
I think that's a call for the commission to make. I mean, there's been lots of discussions about that, and my initial concern was we've made changes, we're still making changes. However, if the commission is comfortable with it, you can go forward with it tonight, or if you want to set it up until after the ABC board looks at it, you can do that. It's whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah, we also talked about, today, Patty and I talked about doing like an effective day of January 1, because most of everything comes up January 1.
Yeah.
So that would allow her some time to look at some class.
Touch it at.
Yeah, some classes online, or if that's the route that they want it to go. But like I said, most counties, this is the way it's a pour permit, and that's the county kind of check in to do the background on the person. If they've got DUIs or they've got issues, then hopefully that would pop up. And that also allows them, I'm pretty sure at any point in the 3 years, they could pull that record and check and make sure that everything's still good with them. And then, you could pull that pour permit if something was to come up.
Okay.
So.
And that was another change that Commissioner Bradford just brought up that I failed to mention, that from the change that we had looked at earlier, which had an immediate effective date, we changed the effective date till January 1.
Yeah, so that would give everybody kind of to come in, get what they need to get done to be able to work, and because if it was effective today, it could affect people that already have weddings planned, and it would be too hard to get them in to get fingerprinted and background checks.
Okay, let's go around the table and we'll get an opinion here, and then so are you recommending this? I mean, I'm not asking for a vote, but you're the one that's actually been working on this with the alcohol board and all. And
Yeah, I mean, what I would like to see is to go forward, because it helps get the process moving. And then, that would give Patty and the ABC board a chance to really figure out what they want to, if they want to go the route of keep the county doing it, or leaving it up to the venues, or how they want it to work that. But this would give them that chance to go ahead and do what they need to do. So, and that's what I tried to talk with Robin about, is there's no legal, nothing statewide that's saying that they have to have a class. There's nothing legally stopping this from going.
Mr. Hartline.
If we vote on it today and we approve it, and
The first reading, right? This will be the
first.
first.
No, we've already had a first reading. This will be the-
That is right.
This will be the second.
I did
So
second.
there's wording in here that, trying to find it right here. On one part it says a for-profit ABC permit may be granted to the same licensee a maximum of 12 days per calendar year. I really think it should read a maximum of 12 times. So if you change, if we.
12 permit, you're right.
12 permits for the year.
For 3 days each.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we approve it today, is that something we'd have to come back and have 2 more readings to change
All right,
that?
so yeah, if we had a final reading today and we wanted to change that down the road, we'd have to come back for two more readings.
Okay.
That's why I wondered about the first reading, because you've changed quite a bit since. And you consider those minor changes, right?
I do. The changes that we made from the first time were discussed, I mean, at the first time. And so I felt comfortable that we don't require 2 more for those changes that we discussed and kind of approved last time. It was just not worked in the final document.
What do you think?
So you're telling me that the people that were issuing the pouring permits to, there's no education, nothing, Tom Blow could walk up there and get a permit?
As long as they have a good background check and fingerprints, yeah. It's
I just don't know how that would qualify them to
I know it's
judge
it's
if somebody's being overserved or not.
State law. Yeah. Now,
I don't agree with it, but it works for the whole state.
Yeah.
yeah, it's that's why we would like to see something instated, whether it's, if there were several restaurants that served, they could do like once a month where they would have a class. But as of right now, it's, we couldn't suggest.
They would teach a class, they'd be teaching themselves, right? I mean, it would be,
Well,
would they
the
bring
way-
in a person that's responsible to teach the class? I mean,
Right. The way Tennessee runs is they have the ABC license. So you go to a class and it's
Okay,
usually
okay.
given at a restaurant, and they go to different ones and have different times.
Yeah.
But that's the state of Tennessee. The state of Georgia doesn't require that. So we're right back at a pour permit, which is the most counties in the state of Georgia, that's what they go by. So.
Is there any counties that actually have had their own ruling to require that, just that simple requirement that they attend,
Not that I could find.
not in the state of Georgia?
Yeah, not that I could find. I mean, we do because of Jefferson's, because we have one restaurant,
Well, yeah,
but
so we did require them, or the alcohol board required in okay.
yeah, for Jefferson's.
Yeah.
But I've looked as far, as high up as Atlanta at every ordinance, and we have, searched through to find anything, if there was any class that somebody, another county would take, and we could not find.
What do you think?
Is there any
Going
need,
around the board right now.
to talk about insurances for these events? They carry so much liability, or?
Well, I mean, that's really up to the event. I mean, that would be telling a restaurant, you gotta have insurance, and so to me, that's not a.
So there's no way that could come back on the county if we don't say they need to be bonded for so much money if they're a pourer or a restaurant or a venue?
Not if it's, if all that we have done is issued the permit, the alcohol permit. If we have looked at this as something, if we have standards that they have got to comply with, and we issue a permit and they've not complied with those standards, and we've issued the permit anyway, that's where we get in trouble.
Okay.
Lamar, I'll get your opinion, and I'll come back to Philip. He's froze up on me here for a minute. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with going along with it because we can come back and change and fine tune it if we need to.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we change something now, we're gonna have to have 2 more readings, and I'm good with it like it is, and then we can, like you said, get it started and come back and adjust as we need to.
Between now and January.
Yeah,
So hold up on the 12 days.
yeah, just hold up on that and we can come back, because there'll be some more stuff that we'll have to adjust.
There's good, this is just the first step of really getting there and trying to see how it's gonna work and we're gonna have to tune it up along the way, I'm sure.
Okay, go ahead and put that on the consent agenda, Don. All right. Move down to number 7. I'm sorry, good Lord, been behind here, her head. Move down to number 9. This is the resolution R-32-21, amending the ABC fees and charges as scheduled. Do you want to comment on that? Patty's not here tonight.
Well, we took some suggestions from Robin, of course, and, legally looked at other counties' costs, tried to stay within what we're already doing, and that's where these numbers came up.
Robin, you were involved, right, with that?
I was, and I need to give credit to Patty Murphy, who did most of the legwork on this, but I was involved in that.
The Class 6 license, the private venue, that $500, that is for the year.
That's correct.
And then the ABC permit, is that
That's,
for a year too? Is that per event?
that would be per event, the ABC event would.
Yeah, but with that, okay, so the permit, the ABC permit is a one event, okay? So
Right.
there might be some taxes on alcohol, possibly, maybe, I don't know how that goes, but the venue, there's also a cost on the actual purchase of the alcohol that has to be sent in, the taxes, and has to be sent in, which
Yeah,
Patty could probably speak to that better than I can, because it's just like Jefferson's right now, they have a purchase order, well, then there's all the taxes and all the order that comes off of that is sent back to her.
No, what I'm looking at is this $500 for the year fee, and can I pick on you? I mean, you've got a venue, correct?
Yes.
Say if he's got a venue and he don't want to do this, but the people that's coming in to rent it wants to do it, and they're not gonna have but 50 people there in one event, I mean, we charging them $500 to be able to serve alcohol for 50 people? And that's,
Well, it's going to be, I mean, it goes back to all the other ordinance that we looked at and the permit license. So it wouldn't be under the venue permit, it would be under the ABC
it'll be
permit.
$400 for
Right,
one time, even if you're just gonna have 50 people there.
right.
But they can bring their own and not
Well,
have
if
to
they
do
brought
the
their
permit.
own, it would just go right under the brown bag.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And the
saying.
venue would just have to hold a pour permit. So, but if they were going to sell, that's what it would be. Like if they were gonna have an open bar of beer and wine or whatever.
Right.
Okay, Lamar, I'll just get an opinion.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Fine with it. Philip?
Feel like the numbers are high, but I'm good with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I felt like they were a little high myself, and we went down, but they, across the board of the counties that we looked at, I mean, it's lower than, I mean, they're in the thousands.
Okay. You fine with it, Tim?
Yeah.
You recommend it? Okay. Okay, put that on the consent agenda then. Tom. Number 9. That is the R-32-21. Move down to number 10, resolution R-33-21. Amendment number 4, Don.
I'm going to ask Rebecca to review that with
All right,
you.
Rebecca.
Yeah, so this is the budget amendment for our fiscal year end 2021. It's a reallocation of expenses. By state regulation, we're not allowed to go over budget in any one department. So this is just reallocation of those expenses. Overall, we were actually under budget by, which we'll state later, it was about 200,000. So this is just to make sure no one department is over budget. So, that's it.
More, you got any questions?
No, good.
Phil?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right. Put that on consent agenda. All right, number 11, resolution R-34-21. This is something we've been working on for a week or so here, a couple of weeks, and so we do have a few people that are out and have been out with COVID, and so we actually kind of, Robin, I'll let you talk. I mean, we kind of looked at, I think it was Bacon County, is that right?
That's correct.
And
That's correct.
I met with you a few times, and if you want to go into it and kind of explain, you know.
Yeah, well, the resolution that you have in front of us, it's a COVID policy, and I think that Don had put that one together. And I also think that there had looked at one at, from Macon County. I know there was some interest on some of the commissioners to do that. I don't know if that has been settled on yet. I mean, maybe it had, but I wasn't sure how that had finally shaken itself out, which one we're going with, really. But I do know that there was interest in both of those.
Okay, all right. All right, you understand, Lamar, what it is? Have you read it? I mean.
Yeah, I read it, and it's kind of, it's too rushed for me. I'm not ready to make a judgment on it yet, because there's some things in here that,
What it amounts to is when we have a person out with COVID, say one of our employees, and they run out of their sick days and they've used their vacant. And most time, you know, the way it's running, you know, you have it for about a week, 7 to 10 days, and you're better. But we, you know, just like with the city employee that passed away, he went into weeks and weeks, and but when that employee, if he does run out, it gives us the right to actually use some of the emergency money there, our relief money, to actually supplement his pay and help him and his family. A lot of businesses are doing this, a lot of industry, but that's what this is all about. And hopefully this thing will get out of here, you know, and we'll start having some numbers going down. But as all of you know, and most of you watch their reports, that's not happening. It's like wildfire out here, you know, and it's scary. Not just in Dade County, but all in our whole area, all over the United States. But it's really hitting our 4 counties here: Dade, Walker, Catoosa, and Chattooga, and Hamilton, and all. The numbers are going crazy. So anyway, that's why that we've been looking at this. So, Phil, how you feel about it? I mean, as far as tonight, I mean.
I'm kind of like Lamar. I'd like to read it a little more.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, we can you know, bring it up the next meeting. You know, Ms. Bradford.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
That's
I
good.
haven't dove into it completely, so I've read over it, but I don't feel like.
Well, good thing
that's-
about this one is it's he had some that was 3 pages long. You know, this was real simple. The Bacon County, that's why we looked at it. It was real simple, straight to the point, and you know, that's why we kind of, you know, looked at it, and he actually added a few things, taking a few things away. So anyway, that's fine. We'll bring it up at next
and
meeting.
one thing that I was afraid of, I just found it here where it's one of the whereas, should certain consensus be necessary for an employee to exceed the additional leave provided in this resolution, the county executive shall have the authority to authorize additional leave time as necessary. Not that I don't trust you, you know that, but I think you're putting yourself in a bad position by doing that, because if you do it for one
Robert,
employee.
that's Robert's idea. Robert Goff, he actually put that in there to keep from having to make come back, and like if you got an employee and say and they're going to miss 2 weeks of pay and they live week to week or day to day, it could be, because, you know, I mean, the way it is now, I don't do anything like that without talking to y'all anyway. I mean, you know, I mean.
And I mean, it's not a question of trust, it's just, I feel like that might be putting,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if you do it for one employee and then the next one that
Oh, you
does
have
it,
to.
you don't see the reason to do it, then you're gonna have to turn them down, and then you know what the excuse is gonna be.
Yeah.
You did that because you don't like me, or that's not you're paying special favors for somebody.
And this
I'm
was,
worried about that for you.
this would only be, I mean, it would be a time, it would not be something that would be, right, Robin, correct me if I'm, a permanent in our fixture, would it? I mean, it would be like, was it a year? Was it 12
It
months?
says till December.
We can limit it in duration if we choose to
Yeah,
do that.
so when this is gone, we can come back. If anything else happens, we can revisit it.
This one has a sunset clause. It's 3 months at a time.
3 months, okay, yeah, okay, I knew it was
But you
a
can
time.
make it whatever you want to.
Yeah, but that's fine, we'll go with this thing between now and our next, and hopefully the numbers will drop, you know?
Yeah, because I didn't get to read, I didn't get this till, I think yesterday, maybe. I get to read a lot. I didn't get it yesterday till yesterday, and
Yeah, because we worked on it till, you know, like day before yesterday up to, you know, and it was kind of brought to our attention there, you know, the first of last week. You know, because I thought this stuff would start changing and going down, but it's hitting pretty close to home, you know, so, that's fine, it's not a problem. Y'all got anything else you want to bring up in the work session before we?
Well, I would like, since we're doing, and we're gonna vote on the alcohol ordinance, we have a gentleman here from he owns the venue, and he had some concerns about it, and I'd like to get his take on what we have talked about tonight, of how it would affect him, if he's good with.
Sure.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
We can do it now or in the public, either way, but if you don't come up now, it's fine, just come on, you know. He's been sitting back here a while, so I know he's.
No, I appreciate everyone and their efforts to put this together. We actually had talked to Commissioner Lowry a couple of years ago, and basically what it comes down to for us is obviously safety. We want to make sure everybody gets home safe. The way the current policy was set up, basically there was no, it's hard to regulate anybody. And that's why we were asking about it, because the way it currently works is if they can bring their own coolers, have their own, you're asking 20 to 30-year-olds to be responsible. And I don't have kids, but I'm sure you guys can understand, you know, coming out of college, what we deal with that. So kind of comes down to, and I know you've already talked about this, and Robin, we've talked about this, so you've heard this, but yeah, it really comes down to just kind of slowing that process down and trying to get them home safe. Without somebody to hand one at a time, then we have a problem. You know, I don't have a problem telling anybody, hey, you need to stop, but it shouldn't be me. You know, I'm not the one carrying the license, and I shouldn't be the one who should be doing that. So that's where it kind of came into not having this set up. And, you know, now we're a venue, they're allowed to have alcohol, but they're having to self-regulate, and it's just really not working. So I appreciate how all that worked. Really, as far as your previous point, a lot of our smaller events, if they want to have alcohol, if the price is high, I can tell you they're not going to pay for that. I mean, it's just, there's a budget and a cost for everyone. So you have these really small packages, what we would call an elopement package. They're on a budget, basically. The higher end packages that you get, you know, they want a bartender, they want somebody to be able to pour and all that. So I think all of that and the way it's set up is great. I had written some things down because I talked to some people that we know in the industry. I've actually talked to two. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to get into preferential treatment, but I've talked to one that is a caterer who also has an ABC license in Tennessee, and understand most everybody comes out of Tennessee. We're just a smaller community. And then I talked to one who's exclusively a bartender. So these are some of the things that they had talked about. with us in knowing this is going to be enacted. One of them is, of course, and we had talked about this, but the immediacy of the enactment, them having to scramble, because right now, at least for this year, if you want a vendor to come and service your event, I mean, there's 6 months to a year out. I mean, you're not going to get anybody. It's just not going to happen this year. So having that postponed is definitely better for everyone involved, because they're just not going to be able to scramble like that. Their concern, they're all going through the same thing with COVID. So there's staff shortages, they can't keep people. So the one that has the food as well as the beverage, they kind of tend to tag team. But if the pour license is individually based, I kind of talked to you about it, but if it's individually based and that person is no longer working with them in a month, let alone 6 months to a year out, they're all just going to have to get it. I mean, that's the only way they can facilitate that. So that was one of their concerns as well. It's not within the housing of their company, it's not the owner that is responsible for the employees.
Right.
It's each individual person that's pouring. So I think they're kind of thinking like, I don't know how we can pull that off, basically, because they don't know who's coming and going. They have employees that get sick. They have employees that only want to work 20 hours. You know, they just kind of go through this all the time. Some staff shortages, we talked about that. We had talked a little bit about, I had talked with Commissioner Bradford about how that license would work. They were wondering, okay, if they're a business within Tennessee, can they come over and get the license being from another state? So I think you kind of explained that, you know, this is all something that is feasible for them. But that was one of the things that was also initiated. And I had a couple of questions, but the main one was what's considered a small gathering or event, because a lot of times with, you know, if we book an event, we'll have a rehearsal dinner. And the way it's been working, it all falls under that brown bag policy. So, you know, you might have 5 to 10 people show up to do a walkthrough, and they may want to just do a little dinner and have a couple beers or whatever. Does that fall under each event? Because that's a separate day, but they may have the event the next day.
No,
So
that would,
as long as all that, I just
the
wanted to get
brown bag
confirmation
still
on
is
Right.
the same thing, no change.
that. Right, and I'm just running through my list
Yeah,
of
yeah.
everything I had, so.
I just want to be clear to the public.
Okay. And I guess that was mainly it. I think the big thing when I walked in here was to see when exactly it would be enacted, because I knew if this was retroactive immediately, I don't think any of our venues are going to be able to pull that off. But if we have time, if the county puts together a list, and then I can go and say, okay, couples, here's a list of people that are qualified, then they have something to choose from. Right now, there's no list. There's nothing.
Right,
So they're going to go to Tennessee companies. They're going to want to ask them, and they're not qualified to do it. So we just need time. I think that's the big thing, is to be able to pull it off.
And to answer some questions about the cost too, is the reasons for some of those costs, which like I said, they are lower than most of the counties, is, you know, if this is something you want to do, you're going to want to do it. You know, it's not something that's just going to be popped up and, you know, I know in the past it's talked, oh, we're going to have a party and sell alcohol on the side of the road, or, you know, just something. So this is kind of stating, okay, this is an event. We're going to make it an event. You know, if you make it this much money and it's cheap, then you've got these permits going out all the time. So that's what I gathered from all these counties of why the cost was so much. It's the same with the restaurants. It's tremendously high for the restaurants to have this cost. So that's kind of where that cost is put in that position to stop some riffraff, but to allow some good events to go on. So, and
Okay,
thank you
good,
for
good questions,
coming.
good comments. Where's your venue? Where is?
Oakley College.
Oakley.
So we're at the base of 136.
Oh, to
Oh, look out.
foot of the mountain.
Right
Yeah,
next
okay,
to,
yeah.
Cloud Campus.
Yeah, okay. All right. Any more comments from the commissioners? You got any questions?
You're happy with the fee schedule though, is that what?
I'm sorry.
You're happy with that fee schedule, is that what I heard you?
I mean, I'm very happy with what the county put together, absolutely. I don't, I'll have to review what, exactly what the fees would be, just to make sure that I, have everything correct, but,
Sure.
as far as, as far as the smaller events, I think, some of them would have to probably change. what
Well,
they're
as long as
doing.
there's no
I mean,
sale of alcohol going on.
There's not.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
then all you have to focus would be a pour permit bartender. That would be the only thing that would be required.
Are you asking for us to hold that?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It would be the individual.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, if you want,
We actually require that anyway.
right, I knew you
So,
guys did.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I know you guys were talking about insurance, but at least on our end of things, sorry,
Instead of just back up at the podium is good.
sorry. Is, on our end of things, we require them to get an event insurance as well. And it's kind of a standard for them to do that, and that should cover them for certain things. Now, reading through the fine tooth comb, exactly what it covers,
Right.
I need to clarify that, and this is a good roundtable for me to go back and make sure about that. But, we require the couples to have any kind of insurance that covers them. And it's in our contract to do that. And I think you'll find most of the higher end venues do that anyway.
Right, well, that's what I was saying before. It usually goes back to the venue or depending on the event that's issuing the permit, if they want to have that insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how the county could force you to have an insurance for having that license, but.
Like Robin says, when it comes down to that day in court, both gonna be sued. I mean, you'll be in there right with them, and then, whoever comes out, I guess, but it's just the times we live in, and.
And we've had those things in the past that have happened, so we kind of know from
Yep.
that how that works.
Yep.
But, I think you've tried to make it as cohesive for everybody involved, and I do appreciate that. Just
Thank
wanted to
you.
make sure everybody understood that. I know you all are working really hard on trying to make sure it fits everybody. Everybody has a different need.
Sure.
I guess I would just leave by saying, just understand we're kind of all on the same page. Like, I get this 5-hour window, they come in, I want them to leave the same way they came in. And so we try really hard to do that. And I think having a bartender in place or somebody with a pour permit, the ability to do that does help. Don't take that for granted. It does help because if you ask me to have to keep a tally on everyone in the room, I know how hard I'm running. I need somebody that's their job.
Sure.
So I do appreciate it.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Anything else you want for? You got anything else? All right, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting. Well, I don't need to say that. Everybody fine with adjourn? We'll go ahead and adjourn the work session, and we'll take maybe a 5-minute break, and we'll go ahead and start with our meeting for the night. So all of you kind of take a break, get you some water or whatever. We'll come back. Appreciate everyone being here tonight.